guess if you wanted to start anywhere is, what is the objective you're trying to create? Then the next question you ask is, what models do we have that worked in the past?
We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
The space program, getting to the moon, is just one of the greatest examples of setting an objective, taking your resources, and then meeting the objective.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
So when we talk about starting a company up and selling a product, we need to think of the various important phases of a business plan, because it's critical to write a business plan and it's critical to keep updating your business plan. So you have to talk about first the problem. What problem are you trying to solve? How are you going to try and solve it? And then of course we have to talk at some point about the technology. Has it in fact been built by science? Because if it's not based in science and the scientific method, it will never be a medical device because it has to clear regulatory hurdles. Look at this place. This is the beginning of the University of Göttingen back in 1734, and started really taking students in 3 years later. But in this place that started the university, you see the equipment that was used by one of the most famous professors that was here. His name was Georg Christoph Lichtenberg. He was one of the monumental figures in what we call the Age of Enlightenment. And with these pieces of equipment, he was able to teach many great scholars and the importance of the scientific method. You observe something, you ask a question, and you then propose a hypothesis about what's going on around you or in nature. And after you then propose that hypothesis, and this is the important part, you create an experiment to test your hypothesis. You then first check that everything's right. Are the machines and the scientific instruments calibrated correctly? Are the controls correct? If all of those things are correct, and you then get a result, two things can happen. The result was exactly as you hypothesized, and then you communicate how you did that, how you derived that result, and then ask somebody else to repeat that observation. Or the results do not match the hypothesis. Then you go back and you reformulate the hypothesis. Test it again until you get that iterative process to a point where the hypothesis matches the results. And from there, you communicate it. You know, the amazing thing about what we do today is how fast the pace of discovery is moving. And it's not that much of a mystery if you think about what was the origins of the scientific method. Because, you know, you can study history for a couple different reasons. One is so that you don't repeat it, and the other reason is so that you do repeat it. This is an amazing place. This is ground zero for the Age of Enlightenment when we talk about how do we find out what has already been done. A lot of books were being accumulated. But what happens when you want to study a subject? And here, in this sacred building, is where Professor Heine introduced the Göttingen State Catalog System. He introduced a way of finding books by subject when it was acquired. All these things that were never available to us. You know, I think about it as the first browser. This is where the browser happened. I need information, I will go to a library and find it by subject or topic. This is an amazing place that scholars would come and now do background research like they never could do before. So that now their experiments were crisp. They didn't have to repeat somebody else's experiments that would fail. They would go and say, I know this has already been done. I will now expand my observation on what I know already exists. This is a critical point in the part of the Age of Enlightenment, is you have to read what has already been done before you set forth and propose a hypothesis. This place, this library, changed the world forever.